We're players in infinite games every day of our lives, whether we know it or not. Like, you're not going to win your marriage, right? You can't be number one in your marriage. Number two, for sure, but never number one. Nobody wins education. You can come in first for the finite amount of time you're at school, where we agreed upon the time frame and we agreed upon the metrics called grades, but nobody wins education, nobody wins healthcare, nobody wins career, and definitely no company is declared the winner of business, right? But if you listen to the language of so many leaders, it becomes abundantly clear that they don't know the game they're playing in. They talk about being number one, being the best, or beating their competition. Based on what? Based upon what agreed upon metrics, objectives, or timeframes. And this is a problem, because when we play with a finite mindset in an infinite game, when you play to win in a game that has no finish line, there are predictable and consistent outcomes, the big ones being the decline of trust, the decline of cooperation, and the decline of innovation. Like when Circuit City went bankrupt, Best Buy didn't win anything, right? All that happened is they lost one of the players, other players fill the gap, and they have to learn to reinvent because now Amazon's a new competitor, and now they have to completely change the way they want to play. Otherwise, they'll fall out of the game as well. And so this was profound for me, because when I started to apply that definition to my work and the business world, it became abundantly clear that starting in the late 70s, early 80s, our nation was the way we distorted capitalism. Like Adam Smith capitalism that made this country great and made it as wealthy as it is, and gave it such remarkable influence. And we're the most innovative nation in the world. Almost every great invention that has affected the planet Earth came from us, right? Which is astonishing. Modern inventions. Clearly, mathematics wasn't ours. But you start to see the dismantling of that infinite mindset that Adam Smith and Thomas Jefferson and all these folks embraced. Thomas Jefferson was a huge fan of Adam Smith's. And you start to see this more finite-mindedness, the rise of shareholder supremacy, where a disinterested external constituency becomes more important than a customer or an employee, which is like a coach of a team trying to make a great team by taking advice from fair-weathered fans and ignoring the needs of players. I mean, that's kind of what that is. You see the rise of things like using mass layoffs on a regular basis to balance the books. We were profitable, just not as profitable as we had promised, so all of you lose your jobs. Oh no, you've been great. It's not a meritocracy, you know? And you start to see the steady drumbeat over the course of the past 30, 40 years where we have actually been dismantling the awesomeness of American capitalism. I'm a die-hard capitalist, just not the form that we've created. Right. And it's very, very recent. It's very, very modern. And Jack Welch is the poster child for that form of capitalism, you know? Gordon Gekko, but he's a fictional character. And we've seen the result, which we've seen massive backlash. We've seen the decline in the lifespan of companies, right? It went from 60 years to now, which is 17 years, the average lifespan of a company. We've seen declines in innovation. We've seen disengagement from employees. We've seen lack of loyalty from employees. We complain about young people that, they're not loyal and they bounce from jobs. Well, think how they grew up. They watched their parents get laid off through no fault of their own because of this insane system. So why should they be loyal? I don't blame them. And we see the results. We see increases in stress and disengagement and malaise and depression and anxiety. These are all related. The Great Resignation, which if we want to go down that rabbit hole, all related. So I think there's a massive opportunity for forward-thinking companies, because GE and those companies had massive influence in the direction of capitalism. Because they were so wealthy, others just copied them, right? Not because they were good, but because they had short-term success. Others went, well, it's working for them. And because the whole system's in upheaval, there's massive opportunity for a new company. There is no heir apparent to redirect what the future of American business will look like.